Hello, Chuck and friends. Welcome to my video this evening. I'm making Maria. I am your Chalk Couture independent designer. Welcome. We're making something fun tonight. We always make something fun. I hope you guys are good. I'm going to show you one more way to create with your Club Couture transfer for the month. Just super cute. It says, "Hello, Autumn." It has some very fun leaves, which we're going to use this evening. So this is the transfer. It says, "Hello, Autumn," and it has some fun little doohickeys with it. And we are going to use these guys tonight. We may or may not do the "Hello, Autumn," but we're for sure going to use these guys. And we are going to actually make a towel this evening. I like to show you different things to do with your Club Couture than your standard everyday make it the way it's designed to be made. Because obviously it doesn't take a lot of imagination to do it that way. Hello, Miss Melissa. It's beautiful the way it is designed to be made. But I like to, show you some other things that you could do with it. So I pulled out a bunch of different ink colors. I have pesto, curry, pomegranate, currant jam, and papaya. Those are the colors that I have because they're very fall-like. I think they're very fall-like. I have your basic white flour sack towel, and I like to pay a lot of attention to, it always has, most towels have like a hangy thingy on them. So you want to think about how you're going to hang your towel. It helps you decide how you're going to place your images. And I'm actually going to start in the middle and kind of work my way over because of how I want the image to go. So I have this little sticky mat. It's called an ink mat. It is a very, very nice tool to have. It's not a necessary tool to have. You can totally ink without it, but it's one of those tools that just makes it a little bit easier, a little bit nicer, a little bit more enjoyable. It prevents the ink from bleeding through because it's a plastic mat. It's also sticky. So it holds your fabric in place and eliminates your wrinkles for you so you don't have to iron, which is always a nice little perk. So what I wanted to do tonight was just kind of take the design and just do a band on the towel with the super cute little leaves. And I think we're going to just use the bottom band so that it's consistent. You could totally, do one, then do the other, and then you could go back and forth. But I think for consistency's sake, we're going to just use the bottom. So this transfer has a band on the top and a band on the bottom, and then "Hello, Autumn" in the middle. We did the "Hello, Autumn" yesterday on the galvanized metal bin that we put pumpkins in. Tonight, we're going to do just the band, and I think it's trying to decide which direction to kind of put it in. I think we are going to do it kind of upside down. It looks upside down to me. But yeah, we're going to do it upside down, I think. And then we're just going to pick it up and keep moving it over until we get it where we, the whole like band. And I'm using the hem of the towel to line up so that I make sure that I'm straight. I like to use the elements that are given to me to help me not have to measure. This is my backer sheet, the important piece of paper. It's shiny on one side, dull on the other side. The shiny side is the side you're going to put your transfer back on after you wash it off. So I have some very fun colors. I probably have too many colors, really. So I think we'll go with these guys because this is a retired color. It doesn't exist anymore. So let's go with colors that you can still get. Inking is really no different than chalking. It's very easy to ink. It's the same process. Couple of tips and tricks to inking. Inking is permanent versus chalk, which is semi-permanent. So you can remove chalk if the surface allows it to be removed. So, for example, if you have a painted wood surface, typically you can't remove it. Sometimes you can, but typically you can't. You might have to sand it and repaint it if you want to remove it. Chalkboards are removable. You can chalk on fabric as well, but the difference is if you wash it, it's going to, like if you throw a towel that you did with chalk in the washing machine, it's going to come off. If you ink it and then you heat set it with an iron, then you can put it in the washing machine and it's not going to go anywhere. So you can heat set ink, making your design permanent, which is a nice feature to do on certain types of materials. Fabric, pillows, towels, t-shirts, sweatshirts, pajamas. I mean, there's lots of fun fabrics that you can ink on. But there's other things that you can ink on as well. You can ink on coffee mugs, stainless steel water bottles, stainless steel thermoses, anything that you can put in the oven. So the key to heat setting is you need to either be able to iron it or you need to be able to put it in an oven. If you can do one of those two things with it, you can ink on it, heat set it, and then you can wash it. It's a very nice feature because you can actually heat set it and put it in the dishwasher. So if you make coffee mugs for the holidays or something fun to decorate a table with, or you want to do the outside of a bowl, something really cute like that, you can totally do that and just throw it right in the washing machine, which is a really nice feature for those of us who don't like to wash dishes anymore. But similarly, on fabrics, as long as you iron it, you can throw it in the washing machine. Now, sometimes I do use chalk on fabric when I know it's a surface I'm not necessarily going to wash. So, for example, if I'm making a seasonal towel, or I'm sorry, a seasonal pillow that nobody's really going to lay on or use, it's more of a decoration for decoration's sake. I don't necessarily use ink, and then I just don't wash them. So you can use chalk on fabric, just know, don't wash it. That's kind of the trick to the ink versus chalk. So other tips and tricks you're going to want to be aware of is every time you touch one of these containers, you're going to want to look at your fingers. You're going to want to look at your fingers because if you get ink on your fingers and then you touch your fabric, it's going to be very challenging to get it off. It doesn't mean you can't get it off, but depending on the color and the fabric and all that good stuff, you may not be able to get it off. So it's just one of those things you always want to be conscious of is check your fingers once you touch a jar, a lid, a squeegee. As you move your fabric around, be very conscious of where are your lids, where are your jars, so that you're not moving your fabric into the lids or the jars. There's something underneath there that I keep kicking, and I need to figure out what it is. Okay, I moved it. I won't kick it anymore. So just be conscious of that. The other thing you want to be super careful of, and we all know that I'm a squeegee happy person, don't be squeegee happy. Because if you are squeegee happy and you go off your transfer or you squeegee a part of the sentiment that you did not want to make, you won't get it off. So just be careful. So what I like to do is I take my painter's tape, and there's a couple of tricks you can do. Some people put painter's tape around if you're worried that you're going to squeegee too far, which Lord knows I have done. I don't do it necessarily. Now watch, I'm going to totally jinx myself, but I'm going to do it. But the other thing that I like to do on this type of thing where I'm not chalk or inking, I'm sorry, I do use the terms interchangeably. We are inking, we are not chalking. Is I do put painter's tape over the part so I know there's that mental block in my head. Stop. Don't keep squeegeeing. It also provides a barrier. So if I do go too far, except you need to cover the whole thing up if you really want to provide a barrier. If I do go too far, it's not going to, the painter's tape will stop it. Okay? So that's kind of my mental know to stop cue. So I've had lots of workshops where we have done towels, and I've had lots of people put painter's tape around the edges because they're worried that they're going to get squeegee happy and they're just going to go too far. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to be painter's tape. Could totally be masking tape. You could put a piece of paper down. It may or may not work well. Melissa, I'm not hot messing tonight. Just because it's a lot of detail in here, so I am going to not hot mess. But I will do a hot mess project because we haven't done a hot mess in a while, and I know it's one of your faves. So we will do a hot mess here. Pretty quick. I don't know. We'll find a project to hot mess. So we have this very fun little band that we're going to do along the edge of our towel. I've used the center point is the fold line in my towel. It doesn't look centered, but it is centered. And you know, towels are never perfectly rectangular unless you've made them yourself or you're a very good sewer. But we're going to take this little pattern. We're going to open up our ink containers. Again, I apologize. I do use the terms interchangeably because it's basically the same exact process. So I'm opening up my ink containers and I'm setting them to the side. Papaya is a beautiful pumpkin pie. Currant jam is a gorgeous burgundy. And pesto is a beautiful kind of olivey green. So they're perfect colors for the fall. So I have them, you can't see them, but I have them right here next to me, ready to go. And I'll move my project down. Check your fingers. See, I opened up my containers and I have ink on my fingers. So you want to make sure, just wiping my fingers off, you want to make sure that you don't now touch my towel and ruin it. Okay, so we have our ink. You can see what I'm doing. I have my jars here. I want to make it so you can see them. Okay, so I have my 3 colors, which I believe you can see. And we're just going to ink. So the pattern, there really isn't a pattern to it. It's some leaves and some sprigs and some dots. So I'm just going to be kind of willy-nilly about it. I'm not going to be overly thought out in my process. I am probably going to stick with my mini squeegee. I might switch to my multi-purpose tool because it's nice and small. A small squeegee, which is our bigger squeegee, is probably too big to use it. So I'm probably just going to use my mini squeegee and I'm going to wipe it off as we go. You don't need multiple squeegees. You can totally have multiple squeegees and use them, but it's not necessary. Just wipe it off in between. The other nice feature to ink versus chalk is ink does not dry as quickly. So, plus as you're pushing it through, it automatically absorbs into the material. So you don't have that problem of if it dries, you're going to lift up your transfer and it's going to come off with your transfer like you do with chalk. Ink is going to absorb into the fabric and you're good to go. So I am just going to be very not thought out. So if I do, we've got some sprigs, we've got dots, and we've got some leaves. All right, I think I am gonna add in the 4th color, just because, while it's not oh, this is a beautiful color. I love this color. While it's not a lot of space, I think the kind of color combination would be good. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna do our little dots in, be careful, in the yellow. So I'm gonna take my multi-purpose tool, I put it in my ink, and I'm just going to do our little dots. Now I'm going to pick up the transfer and continue to use it. So I do want to really make sure I do a good job of getting my excess off. Because I'm not going to wash it in between. Okay, so I'm just going to continue here. I've got all my yellow dots done now. So I did all the dots in one color. And obviously I will continue with that color as I go through. I'm just taking my little wipe and wiping off my squeegee so I can continue to use it. Do dry off your squeegee if you use something really wet. So now I can set my yellow aside. And now I'm going to pull out my orange. Actually, let's do currant jam. So this is a really pretty fun burgundy color. Same thing, put it on my squeegee. And we're just gonna, again, I'm not being super thought out because I want it to be kind of random. And sometimes I find, I don't know if you guys have this problem, but if I think about it too much, I get too matchy-matchy. And sometimes not matchy-matchy is good. Right? Just making sure that I leave enough to do in the other colors. So ink absorbs into the fabric right away. So sometimes you have to use a little bit more than you would otherwise. than compared to like chalk. Let's do all these, like, they look like eyeballs to me, but they're not eyeballs. I have Halloween eyeballs stuck in my head, so they look like eyeballs to me, but they are not eyeballs. They're leaves. Okay, so now let's do some orange, which is papaya. It's a very pretty pumpkin pie color. And let's do this big, I could have used my bigger squeegee. I love papaya. It's a beautiful color for the fall. We've got some well, I like fall colors in general. Like my kitchen area, and I would say is fall colors. So I tend to decorate in fall colors all year, just in my general home decor colors, with the exception of my master bathroom, which we are in the process of remodeling, so I need to completely change it up anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going here. These cute little flowers. And I'm just kind of being real random, real willy-nilly. No rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. And then the spriggy guys I'm going to do in green. I already know that. So let's get this little guy done in papaya, and then we're going to switch to green. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to pick up our transfer and keep going. So again, make sure you don't leave big blobs of chalk, or ink, I'm sorry, around. And you notice I'm not worried about my stuff drying, and that's because it's ink, not chalk. If it was chalk, we'd be picking it up as we go, because it would be drying. But ink gives you, it's a little more forgiving. It gives you a little more time. It's not forgiving in the sense of if you get it where you don't want it, but it is forgiving in the aspect of time needed. The other thing that's nice about inks is they don't typically dry out. My inks are pretty much, with the exception of like the holiday colors, like this green. Can you see what I'm doing? Yeah. Are pretty much my original inks. So they last a long time. My black, I've used my black a lot, so I've replaced my black. But so in 3 years of inking, they last a really, really long time. And they don't seem to dry out like chalk does over time. Okay, smoothing it out, washing off my squeegee, checking my fingers because I'm going to touch my towel, making sure you don't have ink, and we're going to pull it up. Oh, this is really cute. Maybe we don't need to keep going even. I was going to do a whole band. Okay, this is super cute. I'm moving my ink containers over because I'm messing with my towel. And I have, of course I have, moved in the past my project into my ink containers. So this is our super fun, different colors, little band. It kind of reminds me of, you know, like your grandma embroidered towels. Do you remember? Did your grandma do that? My grandma did that. She used to, well, she crocheted on her. So she sewed, I don't know how she sewed crocheting on, but she did. I don't know how she did it. But it always, to me, it was crocheting. Okay, so I'm going to set my transfer over here away from my towel. I need to dry this because I need to set my transfer down. And I obviously can't set it down on top of wet ink, but it's also attached to my ink mat. And you have to be really careful that you don't melt your ink mat. So be careful when you're drying. Don't leave it in one place too long. The best thing to do is to take it off of your ink mat. But I'm honestly being lazy. And I'm really only worried about this one little section right here because that's where it's going to overlap. I'm not so worried about, well, I will be when I get down there, but it's going to take me some time to get down there. So I'm just giving it a quick little dry, moving it around a lot, being careful with my ink mat. You do not need the heat. You only need the air because I'm going to iron it to heat set it. Okay, this is really cute. And sometimes it's fun to make your own towels because you can completely coordinate them to the colors of your kitchen. Like this is the colors of my kitchen. So I could use this towel all season or all year. It's not just seasonal for me because it would totally match my kitchen. Okay. I think we're dry enough. I just need it to be dry enough that I can lay down the transfer on top of it. So this is how I check and see how dry it is. I take my hand with no ink on it and I lay it down. I go straight down and up and I bring it up. There's no ink on my hand. So this is dry enough for me to continue. So I'm going to take my transfer. Again, I'm using, now I have to be careful because there's ink on my transfer. So if I move this around on my towel too much, I am going to, it's going to put ink on it. So I do have to be careful. Okay, so I am laying it down. And I'm just going to keep going. And now my colors are really easy, right? Because I can see them. Because I already did them on here. So again, I'm going to just start with the yellow. Take my multi-purpose tool. Put the ink on my squeegee. Now, did you notice I did not like push my hand all over it and seal down my transfer? I didn't do that because there's ink all over it. So just be careful. Go in one direction when you're inking, and as you squeegee over it, you will seal the transfer. But just be careful. Go slow, take your time. Okay, oops. I threw my wipe away. Wash off your squeegee in between. Switch colors. We're going to now go to Current Jam and get your ink ready to go. Oops. This is really pretty. I like doing towels like this where you do them a little bit differently. You just do a little band of something on them. I think these bands are really pretty. And this is where I talk about often where you want your transfer to have elements to it that you can use in other ways. Because it just totally opens up your options of things that you can do with your transfers. Hey, Mr. Mike, welcome to our chalking party. Okay, so now we're going to switch to green. Same thing. So it's just being repetitive and going over and over again. So I don't know about your guys' houses, but in our house tonight, it's the night before, 'twas the night before school starts, and I have some very nervous children. Does anybody else have nervous kids? My youngest, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I'm going to say this out loud. My youngest is going to middle school. I no longer have a kid in elementary school. It's so sad. It's sad and it's not. You know, I'm really happy for him. He's so excited. Oh my goodness. Every child should be this excited to go back to school. I mean, he's totally going to a whole new school with lots more kids in it than he's used to. He's used to a very small neighborhood school, but we feed, our little small neighborhood school feeds into a big school. So he is like, I don't even know how many kids it's increasing by, but it's increasing by a lot of kids. So I'm going to switch to my mini squeegee just because it'll go faster. But he's excited, and it's fun to see him be excited. I hope he's always excited. His sister, not so much. So she's going into 8th grade. It's her last year at the middle school. And I think she's a little nervous about having her little brother on the bus with her. Like, you know, sometimes he can be that annoying little brother. But for the most part, they get along really well. And then my second oldest is going to be a senior. Oh my gosh. And then my oldest is in college. But just like that, I'm feeling really old today. I don't know. I shouldn't be feeling that old. But it's like, where did it all go? The time. I think because I've been in the elementary school with kids for 16 years. I think I did all the colors. Check my fingers. Pull it off. Okay, so repetitive band just down the towel. This is going to be adorable when we're done. This would be really cute also on like an apron, I think. Okay, so I'm going to set this here. I don't need to dry it down here because I'm going to leave this little section alone. It's okay. It's, 2 inches, not even, of negative space. And I'm going to fold the towel so I'm not super worried about leaving this little band. If this bothers you, just set it back down and do this little corner. But it doesn't bother me. So now, I need to wipe off my squeegee. Being conscious of where are my lids, where are my jars. Checking my fingers. I'm going to move my jars and lids because I now need to move my towel down. Checking my fingers. My kids don't go back, for another week. I can't believe my oldest will be in 8th grade. Yeah, Melissa, it goes fast. Once they go to high school, it's all over. I mean, really, they go to high school and you blink and they're done. I cannot believe my Joe is a senior. I really can't believe he's a senior. Not only can I not believe he's a senior, but he's grown into such a nice young man. He's enjoyable to be around. He's fun. I'm going to miss him when he leaves me. I'm just going to make sure now that this end is dry. He's my character, He's the one that really could care less if he fits in. Still to this day, he's going to be 18. He's about to be 18. He has no social media. Doesn't care. Didn't care if he had a phone or not. His friends just called the house phone. He is my only kid whose friends ever bothered to find him. Because my other kids don't have phones either, but my house phone doesn't ring. Where his friends, they made sure they found him. But even when he never cared if he had a phone or not. He's just my unique, very confident, very independent, needs nobody kid. Got all the answers when everybody needs at least, well, I shouldn't say he's the only one, right? I have a few that they've got all the answers. Melissa, you can totally handle it. 8th grade, they rule the school, right? Do they go to high school? Is Canada the same? Where middle school ends at 8th grade and then in 9th grade they go to high school, or do you wait till 10th grade? Because when I was a kid, you didn't go to high school until 10th grade. You stayed in middle school until my grade. And then they decided to move us to the high school. And that was a big deal for everybody because 9th graders had never been in the high school. Okay, so it's the same 9th grade as high school. Okay. Okay, I am totally digging this little towel. I gotta tell you, this is super cute. Now I'm a little worried because I have not washed my transfer off. I'm gonna keep going, knowing I may need to lay my transfer back over, wash my transfer, lay it back over, and redo. But I don't think I'm gonna need to because my transfer is looking pretty clean. But we'll find out when we lift it up how well the ink went through because it has been used twice and I have not washed it off in between. Yeah, Melissa, 8th grade is a good grade because, they're so independent at that point. They do have all the answers. And they feel like they can rule the world, right? And then they become freshmen. And they go to high school. And they go back to the bottom of the totem pole. Isn't that funny? That's the deal with my son, right? So last year in 5th grade, they ruled the school because they were the upperclassmen. And now it's 6th graders. And she's been trying to warn him about 6th grade that they're not nice. That the 7th and 8th graders are not nice to the 6th graders, as I'm sure you can all imagine. There's a lot of bullying that goes on and stuff in these grades. But our school does a really good job. The kids are very separated. So they don't see each other. They don't see, other than bus, on the bus. They see each other on the bus. Well, and he, because of her, he was friends with all of her guys that were friends. So he's thinking he's going to get on this bus tomorrow, and all these 8th graders are going to be nothing but nice to him and oh, so excited to see him. And she's like, they're not going to talk to you. And he's just so dead set that, oh, this is going to be great. They're going to be so excited to see me. I haven't seen him in a few years. Yeah, she's like, they're not going to want to talk to you. It's going to be, I'm going to have a very entertaining morning. The other thing that's so entertaining about it all is the time of day my kids go to school. So they are out, checking my fingers because I just stuck my finger in my ink container. My kids are out at the bus stop at 6:45 in the morning. The little kids, the middle school kids. That's a crazy time of the morning to me. 6:45 is very early. And in the wintertime here, it's dark. So they're sitting outside in the dark, waiting for the bus every morning. Just crazy. Absolutely crazy. My 13-year-old now has a mustache and looks like he's 18 and knows everything. Of course they know everything. Melissa, he has a mustache and he's 13. Holy cow. My second oldest, so he's 18, or about to be 18, is 6 foot tall. He loves to harass me because he's so much taller than me. Loves to harass me. In fact, he is taller than my oldest son, who is 20, and he likes to pick on his big brother because he towers over him. He doesn't tower over him. He's like 2 inches taller than him. Maybe not even. But like he even programmed his big brother. Okay, so you have to know Joe. Joe's just a delightful person. And nobody has their real name. I think I've told you this before. Nobody has their real name. So when he programs people in their phone, you have a nickname. He doesn't program your name. I think he did this when he was younger, so I wouldn't know who he was talking to. So everybody has a nickname. So his older brother is programmed in his phone as Short Stack, just so that he can harass him for the fact that he's taller than he is. I'm Paw Patrol. My husband is Mr. Business. It's just so funny to me how I don't know what he programmed his sister in as. Okay, checking my fingers, pulling my transfer off. And voila! Okay, this is really cute. I'm going to set this over here. Check my fingers. And this is what we have. We have this, I gotta move my ink containers because I'm moving my towel around. We have just this really cute little towel, further so you can see it all, with this really fun little band on it. This would be also, oops, I have ink on my, where did that come from? Oh, my ink mat wasn't all the way underneath it, so I have ink. This would be a super cute little thing to also do on pillowcases. So, you know how I was talking about my grandma? And she would, embroider. We all had those grandmas, right? That embroidered and did that stuff on pillowcases. Wouldn't it be fun? Oops, don't do that. I'm going to get my ink container. This would be a really fun band to do on a pillowcase for your bed. Just something fun, right? Just a little pop of color. Take your basic white pillowcase and coordinate it to the colors of your home. I'm sure mine is taller than me now, but he can't prove it anymore. Are you always in your wheelchair now, Melissa? I know that is crazy early, Melissa. 6:45 is really early. Because I know you were in rehab. So you're always, will you always be in the wheelchair, Melissa? Yeah, it's funny to me as they grow. Now, so Joe is 6 feet tall, but he weighs like 110 pounds. I mean, you go, and the kid would fall over. He's so skinny. And it's not that he doesn't eat. I don't know what he does with it, but he does eat. All right, so this is our super cute little band on a towel. And so what you do now is you take it off your ink mat. being careful because you have ink on your ink mat. So you're touching your ink mat. It has ink on it. So check your fingers because once you touch it, you end up with ink on your fingers. So these are the things I've learned where I've gotten ink where I didn't want ink was touching my ink mat, moving my towel around, doing things like that. That's how I end up with ink in places I don't want ink. If you end up with ink where you don't want ink, there is one trick I know of, and now I can't find it because I would show it to you. There it is. Hang on, I'll show you my trick if you get ink where you don't want it. There's one thing that I've done that works that I'm not going to tell you it works every time because it doesn't. It really depends on the color and the fabric. But this little guy right here, a Tide pen, will take ink out sometimes. So if you touch it and you get ink, or you move it and you get ink on the towel or the pillow or the t-shirt or whatever it is you're inking, this, you dab it on. Don't heat set that spot. Dab this on and then it should come out. I use my walker sometimes when I can, but I'm mostly in the chair. I don't believe that will change for better. Only where, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Melissa. I am sorry to hear that. So that's how you fix ink, a Tide pen. That's my trick to fixing ink. And I've done it, usually if I'm gonna mess up, of course it's with like navy blue. The darkest colors possible are the ones that I tend to mess up with. Put your jars, cover up your jars as fast as you can so you have less likelihood of getting the ink where you don't want it. See, now look, see, you touch your jar, I end up with ink all over me. So always check your fingers when you touch a jar. Always, always, always. All right, so this is our super cute little towel. So now what's my next step? So what my next step is, now I could totally put the Hello Autumn. That would be cute on this towel, but I really like just the band. I really like just the band. So what I do now is I'm gonna let it dry. I could dry it with my dryer or a hair dryer, whatever you've got. You could dry it. It's late at night here, so what I do is I let them dry overnight, and tomorrow I'm going to iron it with my heat press. You just need a regular everyday iron. You're gonna put a piece of parchment paper over it, and you're gonna iron it for 4 minutes on whatever temperature your fabric will allow. Okay, so this is cotton, so it's pretty, I can use a pretty high temp. And I'm gonna go 4 minutes with parchment paper on the inked side. Then I'm gonna flip it over. I don't need the parchment paper anymore because I'm on the back side. And I'm gonna go on the back side and I'm going to iron it for 4 minutes on the back side. And that is how I'm going to heat set this super adorable little towel that we made that totally matches my kitchen colors. So that's why I don't like to do like the Hello Autumn, because I can use this towel year round. I'm not stuck with it just in the fall because it matches my colors. You could totally do these leaves in colors that match your kitchen, and then you don't have to put it away when fall is over. Or you could totally put the Hello Autumn from the Club Couture transfer right in the middle of it and then use it seasonally. That's the creativity and the choices that you have with this amazing, amazing product called Chalk Couture. So, this is my super cute little towel. Look, Mom, I really do think that this would be beautiful on a pillowcase. And I think we're gonna have to do pillowcases for my bedroom. I'm thinking now that I need new pillowcases. We're gonna need to find a fun doohickey pattern, and we're gonna have to do the edges of and I'm gonna have it remind me of my grandma when my grandma would crochet. Well, thanks, Miss Virginia. Welcome. I hope you're having a good night. So this is our super cute little towel. We used the Club Couture transfer for this month, which all club members, it's shipping to you on the 5th of the month, so you're going to get this bad boy in the mail pretty quick here. It comes with 3 paste packets. You get the transfer, 3 paste packets. It's a monthly little creativity inspiration that comes automatically. You don't even have to think about it. It just arrives. and it's your little project. So you can create it the way it's designed to be created, and then I like to show you a couple of other things that you can do with it just to give you some versatility in different ways. So we made the bin yesterday that we put the pumpkins in with just the Hello Autumn. Today we've made a really pretty flour sack towel for in your kitchen, and you can make it on a board. I mean, there's some really fun applications with Hello Autumn. Would be really cool on a pumpkin. You can do a fake pumpkin or a real pumpkin. We have chalked real pumpkins in the past. So I just think there's some really fun little ways that you can create with this guy. So that's what I got for you tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me. Happy first day of school tomorrow. For those of you like me who have kids going to school tomorrow. And I hope you have a great Wednesday. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow night. Thank you.